Hi folks, thanks for stopping in. Today we're going to take a look at this gunsmithing screwdriver bit kit from the Chapman Manufacturing Company. I got this just a few hours ago and have a few handguns out here that all have quite a few screws on them, and wanted to see how basically how it fits. Because if you're like me, you get really annoyed when you buy gunsmithing screwdriver kits and none of the screw bits actually fit anything that you ever really need to take apart. So let's take a look here. Hand inspected and assembled by PN. So PN ever sees this. Thanks for assembling the screwdriver kit here. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Some instructions here. Pretty common stuff. If you want to read this, it is on their website, chapmanmfg.com. So I'm not going to bore you with reading that all to you. One thing I liked about what this company was offering is that on their website and with the kit, you get this sheet here. And it tells you the dimensions of everything in the kit. A lot of these companies that make bits, they give you like a number designation of what number size they consider it, but it doesn't really tell you anything about the actual bit itself as far as the dimensions go. So I thought that was a very nice aspect of it. This is the 8900 kit. It's their basic gunsmithing screwdriver kit. They also have I think they call it the Elite one. It's a step up that has star drive Torx bits too, which I didn't really think was necessary. I usually don't have a problem with just normal hardware store Torx bits, so well, I'll forego that. On the back side here, you have a torque chart. Gives you the rating in inch pounds for the various drivers. Pretty nice, handy thing to have there, so kind of nice of them to add that in. Oddly enough, it doesn't seem like they make a torque driver. Chapman doesn't, at least look, based on what I could find on their website, they don't make a torque driver. So something for them to consider in the future, because I would probably consider getting one. But since we're talking about that, they do seem to be compatible enough with the Wheeler Engineering fat wrench, pretty popular one I know a lot of people use. So they don't fit down there quite as far as I might like, but I mean, for the amount of torque that is used with these bits, I would say it's an adequate fit. No real problem there. No issue. Let's look at what you got in here. One thing that really struck me when I started looking at this kit, when I first opened it up, is that all these bits are all kind of set in here really nicely. And then I started looking closer, and even all the ball detents are facing the same direction as the others next to them. Except for these over here, these can spin around, but the ones that can be placed are placed all in line, which to me indicates a little bit of extra care in probably the final inspection of the individual bits when they're being placed into the kit. So, you know, it's not going to affect the performance of the bit, but it's a good indication, I think, of good quality control and just some pride in the product they're putting out. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch. The handle here, I think, is a pretty nice size. Has some fluting in it, I guess you could call it. Pretty comfortable. You have the extension for it here, ball detent. Snaps in nice and solidly. One thing that's cool about the bits and this extension is it has kind of a knurled or reeded back to it, to where you can kind of get a grip if you want to just start something by hand, have some knurling down here. So kind of nice. I think that's a good feature. Probably prevent you from cross-threading anything by accident just by using that little bit of extra care there. Little ratchet. I think it's kind of nice. It's stainless steel. It's stamped out of two pieces of sheet metal, riveted together in two places. It's not a particularly fine ratchet. Just by playing around with it, it seems like it's 20 clicks for a full revolution. But you would think, though, with those relatively coarse clicks, it should be pretty solid. I think it's just nice to see something that is made of a stamping these days. So much is die cast or metal injection molded, whatever, that pretty nice to see something using that more classic manufacturing technology. And it seems well put together. It's got some good heft to it. The stampings seem to be quite thick. It ratchets smoothly. There's no lever. You just turn it over to reverse direction. Seems like a pretty solid tool. Pretty impressed with that. Overall, quality on the bits seems very good. Nothing's rusty. Nothing has any visible burrs or blemishes. They seem like really well made, nicely put together bits. This little thumb driver thing here, I don't know what you would really call that. I'm sure they have a name for it, but just fits on there for getting something started. Pretty clever. Not sure how much I'll really use it, but I think it's nice. Might come in handy. Let's take a look here though and see how it fits on this Python. And which one was I using here? Is it the 25? I think this is probably this number 25. Yeah, number 25 for the grip screw on the Python. Fantastic fit. Really great. I think, was it the 89? The 89 for the side plate screws. Absolutely perfect fit. So, two of the bits in here, if you're trying to do that on a Python, they are just what you need. For the crane screw, I also found the number 89 bit in here. It's a 30 thousandths wide, or 30 thousandths thickness, 160 thousandths width. It's probably a little bit narrower in the width dimension than I would prefer, but the outside edges of this screw are fairly shallow. It kind of has a very domed sort of top to it. And so I think this is probably perfectly adequate. I wouldn't foresee a problem using this number 89 on the Python crane screw. Seems perfectly fine. As far as windage and elevation, let's try this one. Does the 89 fit it? It does. Fits it perfectly. And for elevation also. It doesn't really fill out the slot completely, but very nice, I'd say. I mean, you're not going to be putting a ton of torque on the elevation and windage screws on really anything. I mean, that's not how they work. So really, if you need to take down Python, the 2020 model Python anyway, this will do it. Take a look at the Smith Wesson Model 66. And of course, we're looking mainly at revolvers here because revolvers, compared to most other stuff, have a lot of screws. I think I was finding that the 89 was also the magic number for the Smith & Wesson. 89, fantastic fit on the Smith & Wesson grip screw. 89 on the thumb piece screw. Not totally as wide as it could be, but I'm going to say I think that's overall pretty good fit there. It'll do the job. Side plate screws, maybe slightly narrow, but really I think going up any wouldn't be justified. Really pretty fantastic fit. I mean, not totally perfect, but definitely adequate for the task. And now the funny one here, let's get the 1911 over here. This is an older Rock Island 1911. And they actually sell a screwdriver bit for 1911 grip screws. But this number 17 here, which is 1/4 inch wide, 250 thousandths wide, thickness of 37 thousandths, it really fits absolutely perfectly. I can't imagine that they make a bit that actually fits better than their number 17 bit. So maybe there's variation in manufacturers, and this particular handgun from Rock Island just happens to fit this instead of what would maybe for most 1911s be a better fit with the dedicated 1911 grip screw bit. But for this, that is a perfect fit. I mean, it's really, you couldn't ask for better, I don't think. So pretty nice seeing that, you know, when you actually get the kit, it does fit stuff that you'd actually reasonably need it to fit. I mean, you know, to me, working on revolvers, changing out grips, that's a lot of what you would use, especially slot type bits for. And it's always inconvenient when a kit doesn't include stuff that fits those, but this one does. So I think that's pretty nice. Overall, workmanship on it looks very good. Looks like a well-made product that some pride was taken in manufacturing and even putting it in the case. So I think if you're considering a basic screwdriver kit, the little base model 8900 for just under 50 bucks, I think for quality US tools, pretty good deal, pretty good bargain. I'm certainly happy with it. And as you guys, if you watch very long, you know that I tend to use a lot of screwdrivers I basically hand fitted myself. I've got some Grace USA screwdrivers I use sometimes, but this I think is a really good kit and is definitely going to be seeing quite a bit of use from me. So I'll let you guys know if anything changes. Always, of course, on my videos, check the comments box or description box, because I will inevitably add stuff down there days, weeks, months later as I learn more. Unless it's a big update, then I might do a video. But so certainly always check back on that kind of stuff. But overall, really happy with the purchase. Definitely you'll be seeing this coming out in future videos. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing it so that you can see me actually using this thing on guns and stuff. And thank you for watching. Have a good one, folks.